Hey, what's going on? Hello, good people. It's been a minute. I'm sitting in this massage chair, so it's kind of dark in this room. I was trying to put some light on the situation, but I can't. It ain't like I could see y'all anyway. I wish I could. Be a nice thing. But what's up? What's everybody? Anybody watch T.S. Madison show tonight? I saw Leanne's Spirit was on there, but I really didn't get a chance to see the whole show because I was out and about as usual, doing my thing, whatever that thing might be. But I was watching the Larry Reed show and got an opportunity to um, hear what they were talking about with regard to uh, the young man, and I think his name is Antonio, and Pastor Rockmore, and the situation that went on um, with him coming to church, um, I guess dressed in drag and being told that he had to leave and go home and change clothes. And I guess it was put out that he was kicked out of the church as if he couldn't come back or what have you. But there's debate out about what's right and what's wrong about that situation. Was the pastor right for telling the young man to go home and change clothes? Was the pastor wrong about it? Was the young man right, or was the young man wrong? So this situation, of course, can cause a snowball effect with both the LGBTQ community and with the church community. I won't just say the Christian community, I'll say the church community. Um, because it was said that the pastor, well, because it's a tricky situation, it's a sticky situation, I should say. So it was said that the speculated that the pastor had not told this young man once, but on several occasions that he couldn't come to the church dressed in a certain way. He had to come and he had to be dressed in a particular way, or he couldn't come in the church in women's attire. He would have to come dressed as a man because he was a man. Now, what I didn't know is that this young man was not an adult; that he's 16 years old. He's a kid. Um, the other thing is that not only had the pastor said something to him, but apparently the pastor's mother, who is the mother of the church, had also spoken to the young man and said something to him. But I guess there's two things. One, um, I don't want to be anywhere where I cannot be accepted the way that I am. If I am a certain way, um, or I have certain beliefs or certain ways of thinking or something like that, I don't want to be anywhere where I can't be accepted the way that I am. And I am not going to come to a place, hey baby, hey sweetie, I'm not going to come to a place and try to make them alter their way of thinking to suit mine if that's not their way of thinking or their way of being. I don't want to be a part of that. If you don't think I could come dressed a certain way or something like that, those are your rules and regulations. I made knowledgeable of that from the beginning. I'm not going to come there because I know that's the way, that's your house. Those are your house rules. Oh, hey, baby. Wait a minute, I can't see. Um, those are your house rules. That's the way you think or whatever. I don't want to come to your house and try to change your house rules. If this is not the way you go by doing things, then I don't want to be there. That's not the place for me. The other part of that is I know that the scripture says that an open rebuke is better than a secret love. But when you come to openly rebuking somebody and it's on social media and the whole church is backing you, it's almost like you are attacking that person. And I don't think that that was a wise thing to do. I don't think it was a wise thing for this pastor to attack this young man openly like that. And he's still learning um, what his sexuality is really all about. Now he may, I'm pretty sure he's certain that he has, you know, desires or what have you, but he's still learning what the whole thing is all about. He hasn't come to the fruition of his own lifestyle yet because he's still a kid. So for him to go to the place to seek refuge, to go to a place to seek help, and to be outed and to be made a public spectacle of, that wasn't a good thing. So I go to um, the fact that the church is not a place; it's a hospital for sin sick people, so to speak. So if you are to be in sin, or if the pastor is even thinking that you might be living a life of sin or something like that, then the church is where you should be. The church is That's what the church is for. The church is to help to minister to the lost and to maintain the spiritual ethics and values of those who have found their way. But it's not to throw those that are potential Christians or trying to learn more about Christianity out the door. Now, how can you go to the hospital? You go to an emergency room because you're ill, but because you're not dressed appropriately, the hospital throws you out. And so you're outside of that hospital dying because you can't be attended to because of the way that you're dressed. It's the same way that you look at that spiritually. This person is outside spiritually dying because he cannot get what he came for because of the way that he was dressed. Now, I don't agree that he knew about what these rules and regulations were, and he chose to continue to come, you know, and because they didn't um change to or reform to accommodate him, he continued to come and kind of like try the situation, I think. Um, but still, that says that I don't want to be somewhere. If you're not accepted for who you are in that particular place, then that's not the place for you. That's not where you need to be. I'm not saying that two wrongs don't make a right, and that's what this is right here. This was a situation where there were two people that were wrong in that situation. That young man was not right, so to speak, for trying to go and impress his way upon someone who had set out rules and regulations. And though they were not right about outing him the way that they did, it wasn't right. But that brings me to a point to where we talk about sexuality in the church. A lot of times, okay, baby, thank you for dropping in. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you for stopping in. Um, I go to recently, we had a young man here that was from Detroit, Michigan, by the name of Hayden Jackson. Hayden Jackson was a talented musician. He was the minister of music for the PAW. Um, if you're not familiar with the PAW is, um, Bishop Charles Ellis of Greater Grace Temple here in Detroit is a PAW pastor, a bishop, and he's the one that hosted the funeral for Aretha Franklin, and was accused of groping Ariana Grande or what have you. So that's the PAW organization. So Hayden was a member of the PAW organization. Now, as some may know, Hayden, who was my kid's age, and he was some of his teachers were some of my girls' teachers. They had the same teachers coming up in school or what have you. Hayden was a very accomplished musician. When I say he was a young black Liberace, so to speak, because he was just that gifted. So when Hayden's girlfriend and him got together to have a conversation about their relationship because they were engaged to be married, and apparently she was having some doubts and some speculations about what he may have may not been doing or what have you. And when she decided during this conversation that they were not going to go further with the relationship, he became depressed about the situation and he committed suicide. Um, so this was a young man that was raised in church musician, but it is speculated. If you go through and you look up Hayden Jackson, he has a page uh, on YouTube and he has a few videos. You can Google his name. If you look at some of the pictures, he was a very, very meticulous dresser. Um, he was very, very neat, very handsome. Um, but it was speculated that Hayden may have been gay. And apparently, his fiance also had speculations that he was doing some things contrary to their relationship. So she decided that she didn't want to go further with the relationship. Now my question is, could it have been that during this course of their conversation that not only did she not want to pursue the relationship because he was speculated to have been having relationships or feelings contrary to their relationship, but could it have also been that Hayden knew that if he chose an alternative lifestyle for the type of ministry that he was affiliated with, that it would not be acceptable? So him having a fiance, being married or whatnot, was the acceptable thing, contrary to what he may have. Now, I'm not saying this. This is just my perspective. Okay, so nothing, I'm not saying that this is the way that it was. I said, could it have been? So that means this is my way of thinking, and I'm just trying to piece things together because this young man was a gift. He was a gift to his family, his church, his ministry. He was a gift to God. I mean, he was just too young, too young. Very classy young man. Just too much. So you try to find answers of what could cause. Hey, preach. You try to find answers to what could cause a young man with such a promising future to commit suicide, to kill himself because he broke up with his girlfriend. And so I'm wondering if, in fact, she had maybe some information that she said she was going to out on him and he couldn't take the pressure of that being revealed. Could it have been that um, he needed the, 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 the comfort of that relationship to try to fight off the true feelings that he was actually having? Could it have been that he was going through with having a relationship with her and he possibly, I'm sure he probably really, really loved her, but he couldn't fight the feelings that he was actually having? So, could it have been he was trying to hold on to that relationship because he was afraid of what would happen had the people in the church found out what he was truly feeling or what he was truly thinking? Could it have been that possibly what could have happened in church caused his baby to say, no, before I face the church, before I face these people, before I face the world with these my inner feelings or secrets or demons or whatever they would call it to be, I would just rather leave and not face these. If that is a fact, then we as the church have to do something to protect our children from feeling this way. We cannot out our children or oust them because they are not thinking the way that we traditionally have thought for so many years. We have to be sure as time progresses that we progress also. Not, I'm not saying that we alter our way of doing what's right. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that we have to embrace our children. We have to love them through what it is that they are going through and let them know I don't care if you're gay, straight, whatever you are. I love you in spite of. I love you in spite of. I don't care what the world thinks about you, and the world shouldn't think anything negative about you. It's your lifestyle. And if he were to go to church and sit at that organ as a gay man, playing the same music under that same anointing that he played as a closet gay man, what is the difference? The difference is our perspective about it. The difference is the way that we look at it. I don't think it's right because we cannot minister to anyone if they are not where they can be ministered to. If you out a person, if you kick the person out of church, how are you going to reach out to them? How are you going to minister to them? How are you going to have an ear to hear what the Spirit have to say? How? Because you just took whatever the concept that they had of church, of ministry, of anything, right? And you threw it out the window because now they're thinking that the church is against them. Now they're thinking that they don't have a friend in God. Now that they think that God don't like them and they're just a lost cause and they're destined to hell. And that's wrong. That's wrong. Because this is what we have done. We have glorified homosexuality as a sin. And we have glorified that as if it were the only thing that could have been a sin. It's not. I mean, there are so many, there are liars, there are fornicators, there are preachers beating their wives, there are people loving money. And the Bible says that for the love of money is the root of all evil. So if you are a money hungry preacher, that's one thing about ministering to you. He wasn't a preacher. He wasn't a preacher. He was a musician. He was a musician. And that's different. He was not standing in the pulpit preaching anything. He was a musician. And he was a child. Just like the child that got kicked out of the church. This is the difference. Okay, when we get to that we can't let anybody, but look, that person that's ministering to you in the pulpit is a money hungry womanizer. We got one situation where Jamal Bryant, Jamal Bryant just left his church and resigned from his church in Baltimore, Maryland. And guess where he's going? He's going to become the pastor down at New Birth, where, okay, where he's going down to New Birth and take over Bishop Eddie Long's church. Now, it's no secret. Hey, you know your own worth. Hey, baby, I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. So, Jamal Bryant is going down to New Birth to pastor New Birth. It's no secret that Jamal Bryant is a womanizer. His wife is one of the housewives of Potomac. His ex-wife, Giselle, is one of the housewives of Potomac. One of the reasons why she is his ex-wife, as beautiful as Giselle is, as beautiful as Giselle is, he cheated on her. He was a pastor then, and he cheated on her. Okay, regardless of what you say, whether you say he's a man of God or not, he's the pastor. Oh, okay, baby. Know your own worth. I appreciate you. And that's exactly what we all got to do. Know our own worth. And that's what I'm talking about, babe. But Jamal Bryant may not be a pastor to you, preach, but guess what? He getting ready to go down there and pastor New Birth. Thousands of people take over this empire. And you might not respect him or anybody like him, but you are one of you one and you are a needle in a haystack, baby. So there are so many other people that think opposite of you, and why? Why? They are willing to accept him because he has political views. He's known to be an advocate for the poor in the community, an advocate for the African American people, um, an advocate for human rights and things of that nature. So he's been known to do all this, but he's also been known to touch women that ain't his, to sleep with women that ain't his wife. So guess what? Does that mean that he was never called to be a preacher? Does that mean that he was never called to be what the Bible says that gifts and callings come without repentance? God just when he gives you a gift, he don't take it back. Whether or not you go straight with it or go out and veer off with it is not it's not God's problem. That's what we decide to do consciously. So I'm just saying, now is his sin of committing adultery any greater than someone who is a homosexual? Is his sin any different than that person that is a practicing homosexual, and and does God love him any less, or does God love the homosexual any less? Who gets the least love from the Lord? Or is that something that we made up? Because I was always told that sin is sin, no matter how great or small. Ain't no big eyes and you little big eyes and little U's in the Lord. This is what we was always taught. But I'm just saying we are missing the mark. And that's why some of these corner churches, corner storefront churches are so empty, and why some of the mega churches are so big, because they are preaching promise and prosperity and things like that. Whether people feel like that's right or wrong is not the issue. The issue is what are they doing to minister to the total man? What are they doing to minister to the mind, body, and soul of a person? Forget about ministering to the outer appearance of an individual, or talking about the faults of an individual, because all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. When I went through my divorce, I sat myself down. When I went through my divorce, I sat myself down. I sat myself down because I knew my way of thinking wasn't right. I was hurt by all of the things that I was going through, all the things that my husband was taking me through. My husband was a pastor, and he cheated on me with somebody we had been knowing since she was a little girl. They got married, and they're divorced, and now he's married again. But I took a long break. For 8 years, I was by myself until I remarried, and I just shouldn't have never done that because I knew that wasn't the right individual. But when I sat down, I didn't want to identify with anything that had to do with a pastor, a preacher, a church, nothing. I wanted somebody that I felt like that could protect me, that would provide for me. But guess what? I wasn't ready, and neither was he. He wasn't the one. And I knew it, but I did it anyway. 5 years later, there we go. Walking that same green mile to divorce court. So now here I am. I've been by myself for the last, I don't know how many years now, about 10 years, I guess. I don't know. It's been a while. But I'm okay. I'm good because I'm working on me. I'm not trying to work on me in a relationship with someone. I'm working on me by myself. But I know how to recognize my faults and sit my tail down and get ministered to. But I know better than to point my finger. I lost my baby brother because my baby brother was afraid to live his truth because of what people thought. And my brother could sing. My brother was an actor. My brother was a writer, a producer. He was a man of God. He loved the Lord, but he couldn't live his truth because of people. And I lost my brother. My brother died as a result of it. I watched him take his last breath. December the 18th, 2016. My brother took his last breath with me sitting right next to him. All of our lives we've been together, at joint at the hip. To lose my brother was one of the most, other than losing my parents, the most traumatic thing that could have happened to me. I watched my baby sister die. I watched my mom die. I watched my daddy die. And 8 months later, I watched my brother die. And when I saw my brother die, it was senseless. All because he couldn't live his truth. He wanted to be a part of the church community. He wanted to be a family member. He wanted to be this. He wanted to be that. But he was afraid to live his truth. And because he was afraid to live his truth, he hid it. And it killed him. And that's all I'm saying about the Hayden Jackson situation. Was it that he was afraid to live his truth? And that's why he killed himself. Because he knew that it would not be acceptable in the church. There are sins, people out there committing stuff. I mean, I see situations where I have seen a pastor, preacher, preach in the pulpit, and I'm not lying. I seen it myself, where the man preached in the pulpit, left out the pulpit, smiling and grinning and greeting everybody with his wife, left out of that church, got in the car and collared his wife up, bitch, this, that, and was beating her in the car outside of the church in the parking lot. I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. This man was beating his wife, fresh out the pulpit, to the point to where he was, after he was seen doing it, he got his coattail pulled by the senior pastor. He got mad because the pastor approached him about it, and he left the church, cussing and ranting and raving, and went and started his own ministry. I ain't heard nothing about it since the day it started. But I know I have never trusted him because he looked like he was a womanizer, beater, or whatever you want to call him. But is that any different than anything else? That this man of God supposedly standing up in the pulpit preaching a good word and then go out in the parking lot and assault his wife. Are you telling me that's more important or that's less important than a young man that's a homosexual coming inside the church, sitting in the church or whatever the case? No, come on, y'all. It's your focus, your attention is on that. It's almost like the reverse Garden of Eden forbidden fruit syndrome. That's exactly what it's like. The forbidden fruit syndrome that came from Pastor Milton Andrews. He taught a lesson about that. Oh my God, probably 30 years ago, and it just stuck to me. The forbidden fruit syndrome is when you go, like in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve had access to the whole garden. The only thing they could not have is what they were told not to touch, and that was the forbidden fruit, the tree of good and evil, what have you. That it will open their eyes and what have you. So that was the only thing that they could not have in that entire garden. But their focus was not on everything that they could have. All of the pears and the apricots and the grapes and the plums and the fruits and the watermelons and all the different things that they just had to get their attention on that big, shiny, red, succulent looking apple. When the apple really wasn't, once you get close to it and hold it in your hand, it really wasn't as big as that peach over there. But because for some reason, this is something I'm not supposed to have, right? So because it's something that I'm not supposed to have, there must be something to it, you know? It's got to be sweet in there. Maybe it's got like some really good juice coming out of it, or, maybe if I bite into it, I'll become a god or something like that. So maybe I should just not focus on all this other good stuff around here I can have. Let me just focus on that thing that I should not touch. And they went and they touched the very thing that they shouldn't touch instead of focusing on all of the 99 things they could have had. It was that one thing that they shouldn't have had that got their attention. And it's almost a reverse situation in the church. They focus on that one thing as opposed to focusing on the many things that are tearing the churches down today. So instead of them focusing on everything else that's going on, this one over here beating his wife, that one over there coming to church drunk, that one he running numbers out the back, this one doing this one doing that, the mother is evil. And then what's making so bad now in the same church, y'all? I'm not gonna tell you that one of the young ladies in the pulpit. Matter of fact, I think it was two of them that looked like studs in the pulpit. Okay, singing the worship songs. So what was the difference between them and the one that was sitting in the audience with the pump song? Maybe that's why he thought it was okay, because he was like, well, if I can come, they come with the dreads and come looking studdish. I can come looking the way I want to look. But we're focusing on, let me stand my ground and let me say this and let me not look. Cut it out. If you are a ministry, be a ministry still. But you have to minister to the total man, not just the one thing that you think you ought to focus on. Minister to the total man of people. That's why people are so lost out here. And that's why people gave up on the Lord so quick. Because they're being judged according to things that maybe they shouldn't have been judged on, or some of our own personal opinion. I mean, what y'all think? Hey, Tanya, I didn't see you sneak in here, baby. Hey, mama. Wait a minute. What'd you say? Preach, what is this word? I can't even make it out. Slucking something. I can't even read it. There was a pastor in North Little Rock, Sluckenburg, or this pastor cussed his wife out, hit her in the parking lot one Sunday. Oh, see? So you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, you got preachers that preach a good word. They don't like Jay Wilson say, that good old nasty word. Give you a good nasty holy word. And then get out the pulpit and go out in the parking lot and collar his wife up and beat her around and call her a few bees and this, that, and the other, smack her up and down, starving the kids at home and everything else. Honey, my own brother-in-law, my first husband, the one that was the pastor, my own brother-in-law, his very own brother, was an associate minister of the church, y'all. He was an associate minister of the church, and I don't care if he see this right here today, because I'm not saying anything on this live that I didn't say to him. And I can repeat myself. That's how bold I am. So this young man was coming to his wife. They were driving from 45 minutes up the road, coming in for choir rehearsal for Bible study. She didn't want to leave her church because she was rooted and grounded where she was, but she was following her husband. And they brought the kids, and the kids came, and the kids was doing this. But I would notice that I would drive up there often to spend time with them, with her and the kids and whatnot. And I would go up there, and sometimes the kids would be so afraid to talk. They would be afraid to talk, y'all, like scared to open their mouths. And the girls were very thin, very petite, but they were tall, like models. And he would drill them. What's Romans 10:9? What's this? What's John 3:16? What's this? And you get it right. You better get it right. You bet. And I was like, why are you doing that to them? That don't impress me. Sis, let me handle it. I was like, no, you are not about to sit up here and bash these kids in front of me. Well, you don't like it, you can go home. Oh, I can go home, ain't no problem. But you ain't gonna, as long as I'm here, you're not gonna bash it. And that's what they didn't like, because I very outspoken like that. And I still will be. I don't care. You don't do that. So they came up to the church. They would drive from a suburb back into Detroit every week, all through the week. He getting up, oh my God, he get up and he preaching it. But I'm like, something is not right. Because God gave me a discerning eye. And I'm a perceiver, which simply means that you can look at a person and pretty much tell what that person is all about. I hate the fact that I have that ability, because sometimes I see things that I don't want to know, and it hurts my feelings. And sometimes I ignore it on purpose, trying to give people the benefit of the doubt because I don't want to say, maybe I'm just tripping. Maybe I'm seeing too much. But I saw it from the beginning, but I ignored it because I didn't want it to be that way. You know what I'm saying? So one particular Sunday, he got up and he preached and he was off. I mean, he had on the sweater that was too short. It was too small. He looked manic, like he was out all night getting stoned or something. I don't know. It was just something off about him. But he got in, and I never will forget, he preached about Baal and how um, the people, the followers of Baal, were doing all kind of tearing their clothes off themselves and all this, that, and the other because they wanted to get to God and all this, and then they built the Tower of Babel and all this. Then there's something he preached anyway. So it was after, like, he had just preached that sermon, and so we go home and we, Sunday afternoons we always spent together, and Mondays we took off. I didn't work, he didn't preach or whatever, and that was before he started doing what he was doing anyway. And we were sitting watching the news, and we watched the news, and I'd be doggone if his brother, the same one that just got the pulpit preaching, wasn't on the evening news. I got up to, and you know how you, like, I got to be seeing things, got up and leaned in towards the TV, like, is that him? This man was arrested for criminal sexual conduct with one of his stepdaughters. My baby got away. She confided in her best friend. She confided in her best friend that he was coming in her room in the middle of the night after he had been out drinking or whatever. He would come in her room in the middle of the night and make her do everything that her mother couldn't or wouldn't do, or that he wanted her mother to do. So he was having all these indecencies with the child he called his daughter, but that was his stepdaughter. But this was the same one that I'm telling y'all that would look scared to talk when I came over. They were afraid to talk, but they loved when I came there because as long as I was there, he wouldn't bother them because I would go toe to toe with him. And he was like a whole foot taller than me. But I would go toe to toe with him about messing with those kids and his wife. But that's the way I come in. I go to the grocery store, buy food, come cook a whole meal, leave them well fed and everything. I did it once a week for years. So when I would come, it was like always something that we were to do together traditionally, and they would hate to see. It was like they wanted to talk to me, but they were afraid. So this particular time, she confided in her best friend, told her what she was happening. Her best friend convinced her to go to the police, and she went with her. And I'm so glad she did. As a result of that, his behind got locked up and was and did prison time for hurting that baby. She's since married, had a beautiful wedding, has a wonderful husband and two beautiful children. Her mom finally divorced him, but he was calling her from prison, still trying to dictate to call my lawyer, tell my this, tell my that. Then he would call me and tell me, "Would you need to try to talk to her?" I said, "Wait. Do you realize what you locked up for? You calling the wrong one. Do you realize what you're locked up for? Do you realize that you are locked up for raping her daughter? And now you want me to talk to her to make her do what you." I said, "You got to give that girl some time to heal. Leave her alone. If you care anything about her, leave them alone. But you got the wrong one calling me to ask me to jump on a bandwagon with you. It ain't gonna help." And I hadn't heard from him until he got out of prison and came to my door to apologize to me. He came with his mother. The last I heard him, he was down there with his brother, that's my ex-husband, down south somewhere, doing it all, doing something altogether different. Trying to live like he ain't never done nothing. But instead of coming to apologize to me, he should have been apologizing to them. Because I'm not the one he touched. He couldn't have touched me. I would have killed his behind. He couldn't have touched me. It wouldn't have happened. I'm so sorry. I don't know why my comments are blinking out so I can't see them. Let me look and see what you guys are saying here. Wait a minute. St. Luke. Wait. I don't know what's wrong with my comments, y'all. stluke.org. That's what it said. Oh, wow. That's it. Yeah, that was sad, baby. That's right. No sympathy for a pedophile ever. Because it ain't no reason for one, Tanya. Do you hear me? There's no reason for a freaking pedophile. Ain't no reason. You can buy coochie or booty. You can buy it. But the last thing you got to do is violate a child to take it. There's no excuse. There's no reason ever. I don't get it. I have absolutely no way too many free goodies, baby. Way too many. Women out there giving it away for free and paying you to give it to them. They paying you. They paying your bill, phone bill, doctor bills, and anything else, and don't and keep having popping up babies after baby after baby for you. It's a control demon, all right. But guess who like to control it? Me, with a whip and a dog on chain. I really would. I control a demon for you. You hear me? Messing with these babies. I can't stand a pervert. I can't stand a perv. But I say that all of those things to say that these are other things that are going on in the church. Now, the whole story that I just told you ain't had nothing to do with homosexual. It had everything to do with a pervert and a pedophile and a womanizer and a beater and this, that, and the other. But why is it that homosexuality is the only thing that people are concentrating on? Throw the whole penis away before they go. Girl, in some places they do castrate them. In some places they do castrate them. You know, in some places they do, and that's what they need. And I, I don't want to say too much without because I don't want to reveal everything that's going in my book. This cord is no good, y'all, and I'm just like, I got another one, dog, another charger. But I have a whole another book that's coming out, and this book is the one that I'm actually going to go ahead and publish. And um, it may be a two-part book because one part of it will tell my story, and the other part will include um, stories from other individuals that have experienced similar or the same thing that I've experienced in my life. And um, yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be really, really interesting. And in that second book, I'm going to include excerpts of letters or diary excerpts or something from other women or men that have experienced some of the same things that I've experienced. And I'm going to trust and believe God is going to help some people heal. It's going to help some people heal as well as myself. Because sometimes I feel like I'm totally over it. And sometimes I feel like, oh, wow, this happened, you know? But I don't want to go too deep into it because I want you guys to look forward to it. It's going to come out next year. And I'm going to make sure it does. That's something that I need to do for myself. And one reason why I decided to do it is the same reason why my brother left here and he didn't have to. Is I want to tell my truth and not worry or be concerned about what other people think. I want to tell my truth. That's right. Sin is sin. So if gays can't come to the church, then heck, nobody will be in the church. That's. Did you hear, girl? Did you hear me? You better speak. That's what I'm saying. People concentrate on homosexuality as if it were the only thing that ever happened on earth. They talk about Sodom and Gomorrah and about the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. They talked about that's the reason why Sodom and Gomorrah. But I got a news flash for you. Guess what? Lot's wife was turned into a pillar of salt when they were trying to escape Sodom and Gomorrah. And guess why? It wasn't because she was homosexual. It was because she was told to go forward and don't look back. And she looked back. And when she looked back, she was turned to a pillar of salt. She was disobedient. It wasn't because she was homosexual. And that's why they said that Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed because of sin, period. Period. Not just because of homosexuality. Period. God knows his people and he knows his children. And he knows the advances of this world. And he knows that there are a lot of people on this earth that are gay, bisexual, questionable, transgender, and everything else. He knows this. You think he gonna damn them all to hell? Or you think he gonna give the passes to the people that killed somebody? Or slept with somebody else's husband? Or choosing money? Or the greedy? Or, I mean, no sin is bigger than the other one. But that's what your trained eyes think is. That's that reverse forbidden fruit syndrome thing. Y'all don't hear me. Ooh, Lord. Preaching to myself right now. You said you just saying the words of those. I'm just using words from those who believe that gay people are sinners. I leave the judgment to God. But if gay is sin, then still nobody should be in judgment. That's right. That's right. And you got so many preachers, deacons, elders living on the down low. They living on the down low. They getting up preaching a mighty sermon. They still making babies. They still running families, and they sneaking and tipping and going to the deacon house and having sex with him, and then coming home to you. And then that masculine man, that masculine hard man, and he's treating you like you the scum of the earth. But it's not because you have done anything. It's because of his own guilty convictions. So that's all I'm gonna say for now. I'm glad y'all came on. Miss Tanya, I gotta go check out your reviews for the last night or two. I'm catching a cold. I kinda got the sniffles. I'm sorry. Kinda got the sniffles and I'm finally winding down. But don't forget to like my video, guys. Like, share, please share and like my video. Thank y'all for dropping in. That's a few people in here that I hadn't heard from. But thank you all for watching. And I hope you like and share as well. Thanks for dropping in. I'm going to go ahead and try to get some sleep. I'll be happy to. You did Housewife? Girl. Girl, listen. Girl, you going to start some stuff. Honey, I got a new reason to watch now because I love me some Ronnie DeVoe. Do you understand me? But that little Shamari, girl, she gonna be a hot mess, ain't she? But I like her little bubbly personality. But honey, I think she gonna ooh wait. She gonna her and Candy might, I don't know, cause when they gave Candy that little advice, girl. Girl, he gave Candy that little advice. Candy didn't. Every man love a woman. Every man love a woman. But girl, Ronnie DeVoe, he can get it. You hear me? He can get it. I'll break this ice streak. You hear me? I'll break this ice storm. Ronnie DeVoe can get it. Oh, baby. Girl. Since Candy Girl, I've been in love with that one. You hear me? And then, girl, it's so crazy that one of my exes kind of remind me of him. He tall and yellow and oh, he's so fine. He's still fine today too. Tony's still fine. But anyway, yeah, baby. And then she said, "It's like you married to my husband." She like, "No, that's my husband." Girl, I bet a lot of people have told her that. I bet a lot of people have told with his no singing tail. But baby, all he got to do is dance. All he got to do is dance for me, and then say, uh the poison, 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 poison. That's all he got. That girl is poison. That's all he got to say. He ain't got to sing. He ain't got to do nothing but dance, girl, and stand there and pose, and I'll be all right with it. You hear me? But those twins are beautiful. Roman and Ronald, they are beautiful. Girl, I don't want to. He ain't got to be my husband. He could just be my part time lover. I'll be all right. I repent. I repent, girl. I repent. I ask God to forgive me. You hear me? But that one right there, girl. I'm trying to tell you, him and Michael Bivins, cause that Michael Bivins look like girl. Anyway, I'm lusting. Lord, bring me back, Jesus. Bring her back. Bring it. Reel it on back. Reel it on back, Lord. Reel it on back. But, ooh, yes. And all the boys to men. Every last one of them. I love them all. I used to call them boys to me. Boys to me. You see, yeah. But I'm going to go. I'm starting to yawn and I don't want to be doing that. So I love you guys on purpose. I ain't nothing you could do about it. And we don't say goodbye. We just say later for now because goodbye is too permanent. So I love you all. I love you too, my sugar. I love y'all, my sugars.